If your recovery sucks, you will find it harder to lose body fat, build muscle, and get yourself in better shape. In this video, I'm going to explain the 7 most powerful ways I help my body and health transformation clients recover better to make the process of getting in shape a damn sight easier. I'm Ryan Lewin. I'm an online body and health transformation coach, and I've been working in the industry full-time for 10 years. Prior to that, I did a master's degree in exercise physiology, trained as a nutritionist, and I've done tons of research into the psychology and mindset that underpins the process of getting in shape. Now, you know when you give a puppy a treat for doing something well and it gets all excited? That's basically what I'll be like if you hit that subscribe button. I've been in the industry for a long time, but I'm new to YouTube. Every like, every subscribe really means a lot because it will help me grow the channel, spread my message, and help more people just like you. So go on, hit subscribe, and I'll make sure to keep putting out content that will help you get healthier, happier, fitter, and stronger. And of course, in better shape. So firstly, why would poor recovery make losing fat harder? Well, a calorie deficit is not the easiest thing in the world to stick to. You're going to have periods where you've got low energy. You're going to have periods where you are quite hungry. You're not going to be as motivated to train. And you're going to probably have higher cravings at the weekend. So if you combine that with not sleeping great, being really stressed, drinking lots of alcohol, overdoing it on caffeine, eating a poor quality diet, it's going to make the process 10 times harder. And I see it all the time with clients that I coach. As soon as we get a better recovery strategy in place, the whole process of getting in shape and losing body fat gets much easier. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is your sleep hygiene and your sleep-wake cycle. So when we're asleep, that's where the body will repair and recover at its fastest rate. And that also includes where you build the most muscle. But not getting enough sleep or having really poor quality sleep won't just slow your muscle building down, it also disrupts your appetite and generally increases cravings for things like sugar and carbohydrates. So if we can improve both the amount of sleep that you get and your sleep quality, you'll be less hungry and you'll build muscle quicker, both of which are obviously going to make getting in shape a damn sight easier. And there are a plethora of ways that you can look to improve your sleep, and it's all about finding the strategy that works for you. I get it. Like, I work with people that have got kids, super busy jobs, don't feel like they've got much time to themselves at any point of the week, let alone trying to have the perfect morning and evening routine to optimize sleep. I get that. But what you've got to do is try and cherry pick the ones that work best for you. So let me give you some of the most impactful and often some of the easiest to implement for most of the people that I work with. One of the most significant things you can do to improve your sleep actually starts in the morning. If you can wake up or get out of bed at a similar time every day, it helps keep your circadian rhythm in a regular pattern. And this helps with hormonal regulation throughout the day, meaning you're going to have more consistent energy levels, more consistent appetite, more predictable mood, all of which are going to make sticking to a calorie deficit and losing body fat a lot easier. And because your circadian rhythm will be more in sync, you'll also find that you start to get tired at the right time in the evening, which makes falling asleep and getting good quality sleep a lot easier. Other things you can do in the morning: delay your caffeine intake. When we first wake up in the morning, there's still some lingering amounts of a chemical called adenosine in the brain. Adenosine is essentially a chemical that drives sleep. And the reason that caffeine is so effective at making us feel alert is because it blocks adenosine. So if you reach for a coffee within minutes of getting out of bed in the morning, it can actually block the clearance of that remaining adenosine in the brain, which can then actually make you feel more sleepy and lethargic through the day. So if you can delay that first coffee in the morning, it will actually improve your energy levels. It'll improve how you feel, and it will probably improve how easy it is to stick to a calorie deficit. And then even better, if your lifestyle allows you to do this, try and get 10 or 15 minutes outside in natural light, whether that's going for a quick walk around the block or literally standing in the garden with a cup of water. So situated just behind the eyes, we have a biological clock. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Not that you ever need to remember that. But if we can get some natural light into our eyes early in the morning, again, it just helps with regulating our natural circadian rhythms. So if you combine all of those factors, like a regular wake time, delaying caffeine, getting a little bit of natural light in your eyes in the morning, and then ideally with a short walk around the block, if you can, that's a perfect combination for actually setting you up for feeling great throughout the day and supporting feeling sleepy at the right time when it gets to the evening and you want to go to bed. And then when it comes to your evening, there's a few things that you can do to make sure that firstly, you fall asleep well, and then secondly, you actually get deep, good quality, restorative sleep. One of the big ones that I think everyone can try and implement is to get off social media about an hour before bed. Reason for that is, if you think about when you're scrolling through a social media feed, your brain could be pulled in so many different directions. You see a recipe, you see some traumatic news, you see something that excites you. That's chaos for the brain, and that is not going to allow your brain to start winding down ready for sleep. If you're going to watch something on TV, try and make it something relatively low stimulus. Watching a really intense drama or horror just before you go to bed, again, it's going to keep the brain active and it's not going to induce good quality sleep. Making sure that any screens that you have got on, like a Kindle or something relatively light on TV, make sure you've got night mode on and the lights turned down so that it's not too bright in the eyes, because again, that's going to block the release of certain hormones and chemicals that are going to induce good quality sleep. The second thing you can do is stand in a hot shower for like 3 to 4 minutes. You don't have to have a full-on wash, but actually exposing your skin to really hot water in the evening helps with good quality sleep, because when the body detects that the skin is getting hot, it will actually try and cool you down by reducing your core temperature. Now that drop in core temperature is really good for sleep quality. And I'm sure you've experienced that before, where you've had a hot bath or a hot shower in the evening and then you've slept really well. Well, that's the reason why. So if you can work that into a part of your evening routine before you go to bed, it can help with good quality sleep. And then lastly, if you've got a busy life, you've got a lot on your plate, have a bit of a brain dump onto a piece of paper before you get into bed. Put down what you've got to do tomorrow, anything that's bothering you, anything that's on your mind, because this can stop your brain going into overdrive when you get into bed and you start worrying about forgetting things that you need to do or conversations that you need to have. And then in terms of supplementation, you can consider taking a magnesium glycinate. I've personally been doing this for about a decade now, and I found that it actually really helped me with some insomnia issues that I was having many years ago at university. I found that it made me less anxious. The research isn't necessarily conclusive on it, but I've definitely experienced benefits myself, and I've seen clients get benefits with their sleep quality and their mood and their anxiety and their general recovery when supplementing with magnesium. And like I said, from all of that, you've just got to try and cherry pick the parts that you think you could actually apply to your own life. Because even if you can apply some of that, if you can improve your morning routine a little bit, if you can improve your evening routine a little bit, you will get better quality sleep. And as I said, that's going to mean that you've got better appetite control, you're going to build muscle quicker, you're going to have better energy levels, more consistent mood, and all of those things are going to contribute to you getting in shape easier by losing fat and building muscle. Okay, point number 2 to improve your recovery is looking at how much protein you're consuming and where that protein is coming from. If you're going to the gym, you're working out, you're trying to stick to a calorie deficit, protein is so important for optimal results and optimal recovery. Not only does protein help rebuild muscle, protein actually also decreases hunger by directly reducing the amount of a hunger hormone called ghrelin that we have in the body. And a side benefit with protein is that it actually has a higher thermic effect of feeding, which essentially means the amount of calories that are required to break protein down are a lot higher compared to the other nutrients. So for protein, that's between 20 and 30% of the calories that you consume will actually be used just breaking it down and absorbing it. In terms of how much protein you actually need, if you can get 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day, most of the time, you're going to be bang on with your protein requirement. So if you're 80 kilos, that's 160 grams. If you're 100 kilos, that's 200 grams. Now, on days where you've got dinners out with your family or you're working in the city and you forget your lunch and you're grabbing things on the go, if you're in a fat loss phase, calories are always going to be the king. So there might be some days where you do end up a little bit under that on protein. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to completely ruin your results, but it's just something to bear in mind as like a target that you're aiming for most of the time when you've got the ability to choose your own food, prep your own food. 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day is going to be more than enough. And then in terms of where to get your protein from, now if you consume animal products, lean protein like chicken, turkey, cod, prawns, tuna, 0% Greek yogurt, 0% natural yogurts, whey protein, eggs, egg whites, that sort of thing, that they're going to be some of the best protein sources that you can consume because they've got a really dense amino acid profile, which basically means they've got all the building blocks you need to build muscle. Now, if you're vegetarian, but you consume eggs and dairy, you want to try and get most of your protein through those sources and maybe consider some supplementation just to give it a bit of variety. And, you know, you can add a protein powder to yogurts, you can add it to oats, you can add it to pancakes, things like that. Now, if you follow a vegan approach to your nutrition, you will likely have to consider some supplementation if you want to build muscle, because one of the main amino acids that really drives muscle growth is leucine. And leucine is mainly found in animal-based protein products. So some plant-based supplementation that's got some leucine added to it will be the most beneficial thing that you can do to support your results if you follow a vegan approach. The third thing that you should really focus on if you want to improve your recovery and make fat loss a lot easier is alcohol. Now, I love a pint of Guinness and a glass of red wine just as much as anyone, but I can tell you this from years of trying and failing and from seeing my clients try and fail. If you try and factor too much alcohol into a fat loss diet, you are going to struggle. If you're already stressed, you're busy, you're not sleeping great, and you're living that fast-paced lifestyle and trying to get yourself in shape, alcohol is like petrol to the fire. And there's a few reasons for that. One of the main ones is it massively disrupts your sleep. So that's going to impact all of the things that we've already discussed in the sleep section. Alcohol dehydrates the body significantly, which is going to lead to poorer performance in the gym. It's going to lead to lower energy. Because of lower sodium levels, it can lead to higher cravings of salty foods. And as you get older, the lingering effects of alcohol just last so much longer. So you might have 2-3 days of lower energy, lower motivation, higher hunger and cravings, worse recovery from work demands. Everything is just going to suffer as a result of intaking alcohol, especially when you're in a calorie deficit and you're trying to get yourself in shape. So what I always say to my clients with alcohol is try and just save it for the special occasions that are going to be like unrepeatable events after you've got in shape. Your best mate gets married, or you're going to a really special gig in London. If you want to factor a few drinks into something like that, fair enough. We'll just make sure we put things in place, to kind of limit the damage. What I would try and avoid is just that need for Friday and Saturday drinks every single week for no real reason other than just to switch off and unwind, because that's just going to make your life unnecessarily harder, and it's not really for a special occasion. And not only does alcohol really hinder your recovery, it also contains a lot of calories. So alcohol on its own is 7 calories per gram, which means it's more calorie dense than carbs, more calorie dense than protein, and it's nearly as calorie dense as fat. And of course, we don't usually consume alcohol on its own. It's also combined with carbohydrates that you'll find in a pint of beer, or lots of sugars that you'll find in a cocktail. It means that alcohol can really quickly ramp up the amount of calories that you consume in a way that just doesn't fill you up and actually just makes you more hungry for high calorie foods. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Okay, the fourth thing to think about is the food quality that you're consuming. So technically, on paper, you could eat 6 protein bars a day, hit your protein requirements, and stick to a calorie deficit, and lose body fat and get in shape. However, there's going to be a lot of nutrients that are then void in your diet that makes you feel pretty lethargic, not perform great in the gym, not perform great at work, and the whole process of sticking to it is going to be a lot harder. So the foods that you consume do matter. Calories are not all equal, because some calories are going to give you other health benefits, like fiber in your digestive system to support your gut health and your overall immune function and your energy levels. Some calories that you consume are going to contain really healthy fatty acids that support the regulation of your hormones and your cell health. I'm not going to sit here and say you need to get 100% of your food from super healthy, single ingredient, nutrient dense foods. But what I will say is try and make sure 80 to 90% of your food choices are coming from foods that are good quality protein sources. So meat, fish, eggs, dairy, with plenty of fiber from fruits, vegetables, salads. Carbohydrates coming from things like whole grain bread, potatoes, white and sweet, whole grain rice, quinoa, stuff like that. And then your fats coming from olives, walnuts, eggs, oily fish, avocado, and things that are rich in mono and poly unsaturated fats. If 80 to 90% of your nutrition comes from those sort of foods, you are going to recover a lot better, and fat loss is going to be a lot easier because you're going to be fuller, you're going to have better energy, better appetite control, and just better all-round performance. Okay, the fifth thing to focus on is your caffeine intake. Now, I love caffeine. It is my friend. I actually just had a really strong black coffee before I started recording this video. However, I have definitely fallen into the pattern before of drinking far too much caffeine. As I mentioned earlier, caffeine directly blocks something called adenosine in the body. So as we go through the day, we're constantly breaking down energy within the body, and a byproduct of that process is adenosine. As adenosine builds up through the day, it increases our sleep drive, which helps get good quality sleep. So when we consume too much caffeine, we're essentially blocking our ability to build up sleep drive through the day. Combine that with the fact that we're also releasing more adrenaline, we're stimulating the nervous system. It's easy to see why if you overdo it with caffeine and consume caffeine too late in the day, you're going to struggle with sleep and your recovery is going to be off. Now, I'm not going to tell you to cut caffeine out because caffeine does have a lot of cognitive benefits, it has a lot of performance benefits, and I think it can be really great when used in the right doses for both your work performance and your gym performance. But I would just say be mindful, probably don't go over 500 milligrams a day, and make sure you stop consuming caffeine around 8 hours before you plan to go to bed. I've implemented that this year and I feel bloody great for it, to be honest. Okay, the sixth thing that I want you to focus on to improve your recovery is having proper downtime routines that actually support reducing stress without using food or drink. So many people go from busy, work, Monday to Friday, straight into alcohol, food, and all of these kind of like short-term hedonic pleasures that help give temporary relief from work stress, but they don't really support your recovery. They don't really support stress reduction. If anything, they actually make it worse. A lot of the time, alcohol and food just provides like a clear boundary between work life and personal downtime. It's the ritual that gives us that off switch to give us the permission to relax. But what about doing something like on a Saturday morning, you go somewhere that you've not been for a walk for a long time, ideally in nature, in a forest, in the peaks, by the coast, just somewhere that's a little bit different from your normal routine. Get yourself a nice coffee. If you're on your own, nice bit of music, podcast, or just listen to the birds or listen to the sea, whatever it may be. Or if you're with someone, have some good conversation, but just get your devices off and just have a bit of downtime from the outside world and just let yourself unwind in a healthier way. And whilst you're doing that, you can think about your goals. You can think about why it is that you want to get in shape, why it is that you want to recover well, why it is that you want to perform well at work. Like, think about all the benefits of treating your body well when it comes to unwinding in healthy ways, because it will serve a purpose and it will help you with everything that you're trying to achieve in life. Other things could be going for a sauna, going for a massage, doing some journaling, ringing a friend, planning something really exciting that you've got coming up later in the year. Just give yourself a way of just distancing yourself from the work stress and having a bit of downtime and a bit of time to yourself that actually allows your nervous system to calm down without food or alcohol. That will improve your recovery by balancing the nervous system and, again, supporting sleep and supporting all of these things. It's going to be really important for how you feel and how you lose body fat. And the last thing that I want you to focus on in order to improve your recovery is have structure and time management within your weeks. Because you've got a busy job, you might have a family to look after, you're trying to give yourself some downtime, you're trying to sort your nutrition, you want to go to the gym, you want to do all these things. Life can get chaotic very, very quickly. And you may have heard of Parkinson's law, where a task will basically expand into the time that we give it. So if you're not time blocking and allocating a certain amount of time to get certain things done, things just expand. You end up procrastinating, you end up scrolling on social media, and you ultimately end up in a position where you feel like you just don't have the time in a day to get everything done that you want to get done, which makes life chaotic, it makes it overwhelming, it adds to your stress levels, it means that you probably stay up later at night, it means that you probably don't sleep as well, it means that you probably got more cravings, and it can just feel a little bit all over the place. And that can be a situation where you tell yourself you've not got time to go and do your steps or go to the gym or sort your nutrition. And that goes down the priority ladder, which is obviously going to make fat loss and getting in shape a lot harder. So some of my most successful clients, both in their professions and with their body transformations, are definitely the type of people that will sit on a Sunday, plan out their week, look at when they're going to go to the gym, look at when they're going to do their nutrition prep, when are they going to do their food shop, when are they going to see their kids, when are they going to do their work. Like, they go into the week with structure and a clear plan of action. And they know exactly what they're going to be eating. They know if they're going to be eating out for client dinners or social events or whatever that may be. It's all planned. And then they submit it to me when they do their weekly check-in, and we look at it and we make sure it's all there. And then I just keep them accountable and keep them supported with getting it all done. Going into your weeks with a clear plan of action will support your ability to recover, because it will support your ability to actually find the time to relax and get to bed on time and get your gym done and get your nutrition done. All of which is obviously going to impact your ability to lose body fat in the easiest way possible and get yourself in shape whilst feeling great in the process. So there we go. There's the 7 things that you can do now to improve your recovery and make the process of losing body fat and getting in shape a lot easier. Look after your sleep hygiene and sort out your sleep-wake cycle. Look at how much protein you're getting and where you're getting your protein from. Looking at your food choices and making sure you're not just consuming foods because of the calorie content, but you're also consuming foods that are going to serve a purpose within the body because they're rich in nutrients, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Looking at your alcohol intake and making sure that you're just saving it for special occasions. Monitoring your caffeine intake and making sure that you're using it in a way that actually enhances your performance without being a detriment to your sleep and recovery. Making sure you've got plans at the weekend that allow you to unwind and take downtime without it involving food and drink. Lastly, going into your weeks with a clear plan of action and structure to make sure that you're not overwhelmed and you do find the time to actually unwind and recover properly alongside all of the other things that you need to get done in life. And once again, just remember to hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be putting out content like this on a regular basis that comes from my 10 years of coaching experience, all of the study that I've done at university, and it's all for free. And it's going to help you get healthier, get in better shape, perform better, and just have a damn sight better time in this thing we call life. Hit subscribe, drop us a like, and I'll catch you next time.